In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why forgiveness is so important if you want to live your absolute best life. Hello, it's Hannah here, Hannah Mindful Mother, helping you to live your absolute dream life. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you why forgiveness is so important and why we find it so hard to actually do it in the first place. Why we find it so hard to forgive others and to actually forgive ourselves. Forgiveness though, forgiveness is fundamental if you want to create your dream life, if you want to have emotional freedom. So if you are holding on to something that someone has done to you, if you are holding on and you're resenting something that has been done to you, then actually the energy that you're feeling is going upon that person. It's going out. Now, I know this is not an easy thing to do. To forgive someone who you feel has done you an injustice is so incredibly hard. But if you want to live your best life and you want to bring your energy back to you, it's something you're going to have to do. Now, Nelson Mandela, the amazing Nelson Mandela, said when he invited a person to tea who had persecuted him and imprisoned him, and people said, "Why are you doing that? How can you forgive this person?" And he said, "If I did not forgive this person, then I might as well still be in that prison cell." Meaning if he didn't forgive that person, he was still imprisoned and he was never going to be able to be free. And this is the fundamental point, guys. If you are resenting something from past, something someone has done to you in the past, you are putting all your energy upon them and you have no energy coming back to you, and you cannot be free because you are living in that past. You have to be able to forgive. So you need to work at this. It's not easy, but it's possible. It's possible for everyone because you need to love yourself enough to do it. You need to love yourself enough to forgive and see that person as realizing that they were doing their best at that point in time. They didn't know any better. They didn't know what they were doing. Their level of consciousness was not at the same place that yours is. And through that, through what you potentially went through because of what someone else has done to you, try and think, I have learned from that. I have learned from what I've been through. What I've been through has maybe made me into the person I am today. Perhaps if you hadn't been through that level of distress, that level of persecution, or whatever it was that happened to you, perhaps you wouldn't be here at this level of consciousness that you are today. Perhaps you wouldn't be here. So you have to always look back at everything in life, whatever has happened to you, as a lesson. And if you can do that, then it becomes possible to actually forgive that external person, to forgive them. Then comes forgiveness for ourselves. We have to be able to forgive ourselves also for not perhaps knowing what we know now. So there might have been things in your past that you have done and now you feel guilty because of them. You feel bad because of them. Perhaps you know more now and you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I know that then? Now this is crucial, that you have to forgive yourself for the lessons you didn't know then. You have to forgive yourself for what you didn't know, for your level of consciousness then, and say, but now I know this stuff and now I can live in the present. And say, I love myself enough to forgive myself and know that everything I've been through, again, has been a lesson. And perhaps I wouldn't be here if I hadn't done that. You know, every single thing. Now, as mums, this happens to us all the time. We maybe feel bad about the way we behaved or something we have done in our past, and we will look back and we will feel guilty. But of course, that guilt doesn't help you and it doesn't help your children. If we feel guilty, all that happens is we're bringing that energy upon us. We think, oh, but we deserve it. We want to punish ourselves. But in doing so, of course, it's very destructive for our bodies and our well-being and our places people, our self-love. It's very destructive, but also it's destructive to our children, because what happens if our children see us acting in that way? They actually don't see it like that. Actually, what they'll do is they'll start to take it upon themselves. Why is my mum unhappy? Why is my mum being like that? Even if you are not showing it externally or directly, they will know that you are feeling it, because they will pick up on it, because children do. And if they do, then they will take it upon themselves, and they will begin to feel that guilt themselves, and they will begin to blame themselves for the way you are being. So although you may think you are punishing yourself, your children are taking it upon themselves as well. But let's turn this around. Imagine that you are able to forgive yourself and say, I did my best at the time, and I'm learning all the time, and I'm improving all the time, and I'm growing all the time. That's the way you want your children to be, right? And if they see that you are able to forgive yourself, then they will be able to forgive themselves too. If they see that you can change your energy, they will be able to change their energy. And if they see you being vulnerable and honest with them, if you say to them, look guys, I realised I acted in this way and I'm really sorry about that. I wasn't in the place I am now, or I was in a very strange frame of mind that day, and in hindsight I know I did the wrong thing. I forgive myself now. Do you forgive me? I forgive you, etc. And you can go through a process with each other. Then they of course will forgive you, because they're your children and they love you, and they will respect you so much for seeing that you are vulnerable and seeing that you have your ups and have your downs. You have your good days and have your bad, and that you are a person who lives from the heart, that you are not afraid to show that vulnerability, and then they can show theirs too. And what an amazing lesson that is. If you were the perfect mummy all the time, your children would think they had to be perfect all the time too. And of course, we are human and we make mistakes, but in those mistakes comes the learning, and we want our children to learn that too, that you can make mistakes. And in those mistakes, in that so-called failure, comes the greatest lessons in life. And if we can go through life like that, then we have no fear. How can you have fear if you know that everything is good? The good and the bad. The bad is actually good, because it's in the potentially bad, or the failure, or what we perceive as failure or mistakes, is where we learn the most and where we can grow the most. And if we're always growing and always learning, then our lives are going to be incredible, and we are not going to be afraid to take that leap into the unknown, and we're not going to be afraid to reach our highest potential, because we are always going to be pushing ahead. And that is the lesson we want our children to learn. So it's about being honest and vulnerable. Don't dwell on the past. Go back though and say, I forgive myself for what I did then. Don't sit and dwell in that guilt, but say, I love myself enough to forgive myself, so that my children can forgive themselves too, so that I can teach them the most fundamental lesson, that forgiveness is key. Forgiveness is so important, and I know that's what I want for my children. So I have learned this self-love and self-forgiveness, and it's a process, but we can all do it. We can all do it, I promise you. You just need to learn, and I'm here to help you do that, obviously. Now, one last point on forgiveness is it's not going to be easy to change or let go of that guilt. Why? Because our bodies are used to that now. If we've been feeling it for a while, you make a mistake and you feel guilty because of it, your body has potentially, your being has potentially become addicted to that feeling of guilt. I want to punish myself, and you feel guilty. And if you feel guilty, then what's going to happen? It doesn't want to let go of that. It's like, I'm quite happy here in this emotion. Do you know what's going to happen? If you don't forgive yourself at that point, if you don't do the work to forgive yourself, you're going to do exactly the same thing again. You're going to do something else to make yourself feel guilty, because you are addicted to that emotion. It has become who you are. So if you're someone who feels guilt a lot, who struggles with self-forgiveness a lot, the reason is because you have become addicted to that emotion. And if you really want to change, you need to start the process now in small steps, But every single day you need to do your worthy, that I am worthy. You need to look into the mirror and say, I am worthy. I'm worthy of self-love. You need to look into the mirror and say, I am a beautiful light, and this light inside of me is the same light that's inside of everybody. This light inside of me is part of this universal source energy. So how can I not love myself? I am part of this energy. You need to remind yourself of that every single day. It's crucial, guys. So you need to let go of that guilt. You need to start doing the work now. It's not going to be easy, like I said, because it has become an addiction, but it is possible. Don't let yourself get into that cycle where you will do the same thing again. If you don't forgive yourself for one thing, you will do something else to feel guilty about. If you don't forgive yourself for that thing, you will do something else to feel guilty about. It will be a cycle and it will go on and it will be destructive, and you will go down and down into that feeling, and it will become much harder to change. So now is the time to change. Now is the time to forgive yourself. We are all worthy. So just for a second, just place your hands upon your heart. And if you want to do so, just close your eyes. I'm going to. And now say, I am worthy. I am a beautiful light. And this light is my connection with the universe. This light is universal source energy. And I am part of this beautiful energy. I am love. I am love. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I love myself enough. I am enough. I am light. I am light. Beautiful people, it's very short affirmations, but place your hands upon your heart when you do it. Feel your heartbeat, feel that energy. And I will be doing a longer exercise with you, especially for self-love and self-forgiveness very, very soon. So do subscribe if my videos are helping you. Remember to share this with all your friends. And remember, if you want to create your dream life, then you need to start this process and realize just how important forgiveness is, both for other people, for yourself, and for your children. I'm sending so much love to you today, and remember to press the bell icon as well for notifications of all my new videos. Bye bye, guys.